Well, hello there, dear viewer. Yes, we have today Flirts from around the globe. But first, well, hello there, dearest viewer, and welcome to my little corner of the YouTubies. Now, please, before we go any further, please consider liking and sharing and subscribing. That would be fantastic. Thank you all so much. Or please consider becoming a patron or a channel member. These fantastic people did. Well, we got Crystal Bergero, Alan L, Bob Sadler, Morris Gotro, District Driver, Car Talk, and Joe H. Thank you all so very much. Or if you really like the video, you could drop us a super thanks if you so desire. Thank you all so much. Links to Patreon and memberships all in the description below. Thank you all so much. So yes, as I said before, it's Flirts from around the globe, and first off, we go to the United States in America, where we have a chat with Mr. CC Chris.
I hope they're going to end.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 9/16, 2022.
Well, hello there, Mr. CC Chris from West York, Chester County. I'm just enjoying a nice chicken-flavoured cups of soup. I suggest you get one too. Might calm you down a bit. God, that's hot.
And boy, we having a great time here in New York. We're watching all the governors and the mayors from states sending these illegals to places like Martha's Vineyard.
Nothing wrong with Martha's Vineyard, you know. Fox Mulder grew up there, and look how he turned out. Best programme ever, bar none. No debate, done deal, discussion over with. Damn, I just thought of Miranda. I'm joking. Honest. God, Miranda. It really has to be the worst programme that ever was made.
They should send them to Nantucket. Nantucket's really beautiful this time of year. And the people there are complaining about 48 illegals coming in. Join the party. We're getting thousands of them daily here in New York. Fucking A, man. It's so much fun, isn't it? They have to create this bullshit, this nonsense, you know? Because they fucked up. They don't know what else to do now. They really don't. They were vamping it up. The wave was coming. It was going. It was coming. And then nothing. Oh, man.
Can we have less of your xenophobic crap, please? And let's move on to some flat earth stuff, or else my viewer is going to be deeply disappointed.
We even are getting ripped off of the alien invasion. That really sucks. Why can't they do it? Come on. We got the holographic imaging down pat now. Should. We've been doing it for 40 years.
What? What alien invasion? I mean, this guy's lost the plot, hasn't he? He really has. He's gone full retard in this video.
Today is Friday, and it's a Think About It Friday. And I want you to think about something.
I'm thinking about something right now. Why the freaking did I start making this video? Oh my lordy lords. Oh well, onwards and upwards.
I want you to think about today about the ISS, okay? Yeah, the ISS is a nice thing. I love it. Yeah, there's something up there. I don't know what the fuck it is, but apparently it's the size of a football stadium, but yet you can see it pass over the moon. That doesn't make any sense. When a jetliner goes 30,000, 35,000 feet, it looks like a little freaking pinhead.
Funny you should mention Pinhead, because that's probably the name that I would call you should I meet you in person. And the ISS is literally made of freaking mirrors, for crying out loud. You got a big object in the sky called the sun, shining a beaming light onto the ISS, which is reflected back down to Earth. That is the reason why you can see it. Goodness gracious me, do I have to tell you how light works, you moron? God, I'm angry.
But yeah, don't worry. It's all right. You know, one thing I find amazing is when we construct something, like, for example, the new Tappan Zee Bridge. Daily, we were given photos through NewYork.gov. When we reconstructed the Freedom Tower, daily we were given pictures. We've reconstructed all of these buildings. There's always some sort of relic or history of how the building was built and all that. But, you know, it's funny because we have no history of how the ISS was built. We don't even know how many times they had to go into space to actually build this thing. You know, did they build it down here and put it on a shuttle and piece by piece? Is that what they did? Well, we won't know. It just appeared out of nowhere.
No, Mr. Chris, no. Didn't just appear out of nowhere, no. They built the modules down here on this planet in the 90s it started, and they'd taken them up in rockets and shuttles and then put together up there in space, because it's a lot easier, because it's pretty bloody weightless up there. Anyway, I'm going to show you a little collage now from a brilliant website showing certain stages of construction. Now, is that good enough for you?
Just like the pyramids. Don't you think that they would put some sort of history and chisel it in the fucking rocks? I mean, they chiseled other things in the rocks, but they didn't chisel the building of the fucking pyramids? And it only takes, well, how long did it take? 30 years? No, they found this civilization and they claimed it for themselves. It's as simple as that. That's what we do. We find ancient civilizations, we dig them up from the mud flood, and we call it our own.
Mud flood, really? And we claim civilizations for our own? Oh my God. Oh, he's going worse, isn't he? He's going worse. He needs serious help, this lad. Or a serious whack on the head, just to bring him back into reality. Right, that's the American flirt all done and dusted. Now, let's move halfway around the globe and pop in and see my old friend Phuket Word, who lives in something called a Phuket, which is in Thailand. And he is going to make some gravity.
Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers.
I think we've caught Mr. Phuket at an awkward moment because he seems to be having a shower.
I'm going to demonstrate how to create gravity out of thin air.
Do you know, in my short and enjoyable time making videos on YouTube, I've dealt with an enormous amount of stupid. I've dealt with young Earth creationists who believe the Earth is 6,000 years old and that evolution teaches that we came from rocks. I've dealt with flat earthers, for instance, who think there's a dome above our heads, despite the fact nobody's ever seen the damn thing. I've dealt with conspiratards as well, who believe that the Titanic didn't actually sink. I've dealt with an enormous amount of stupid, but never, in my short but humble and enjoyable time on YouTube, have I ever heard something as stupid as what I've just heard then.
And we're going to use this space right here, which is just air, to create gravity.
Do you know when I said before that that was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard? He's just topped it. And he's just come out with something even more stupid. Mr. Phuket, you see, when you say that that is just air, there's a thing underneath the air. And I'm not talking about your shower room floor here. I'm talking about underneath that. There's a really fucking big planet. And the greater the mass, the greater the gravitational attraction. I think I need another chicken flavoured cup of soups.
Now, this is usually something that can only ever be performed by qualified math magicians. So I've got an emergency crew standing by in case anything goes wrong. Now, all we need is some water and a little pumping device here and a common or garden balloon, okay? And we're going to magically create gravity that doesn't exist in this space at the moment, but we're going to make gravity suddenly appear.
Oh my God, please, please, please tell me that this guy is a Paul. He has to be a Paul. There is nobody this dumb on the entire planet. Not even Matt Powell is this dumb.
So, all right, and now stand by. Are you ready, group? Yeah, okay, right, they're ready just in case. They've got fire extinguishers and everything, just in case anything goes wrong.
Why would you need a fire extinguisher in a shower room when you're pumping water into a balloon? Paul.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up this balloon. Now you see here, you see what's happening? This balloon is now becoming a mass. Oh, you see, it nearly messed up there. Nearly had water all over the place. Could have been dangerous.
That bottle, it was going like that. Why was it going down, I wonder? Could it have something to do with Earth's gravity?
Okay, you see? I have created a mass out of thin air.
He can't be serious, can he? No, Mr. Phuket, you haven't created anything. You just transferred mass from one location to another location. You've transferred water from the bottle to the balloon via a pump. Why do you need a pump? Because Earth's gravity. That's why. I've created gravity. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, dear.
Just using water. And now we're going to see that all of a sudden this balloon has created gravity where none existed before. Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1. There you go. All right.
Yes, Mr. Paul. Yes, it fell down. It accelerated towards the ground. Now, where does that acceleration come from? Why doesn't it go up? Because the air's less dense up there. You'd think it would go up. You'd maybe even think it'll go sideways because of the pressure is equal at the sides of it. Why down? Where does the direction come from?
Now I can assure you that that dropped at 9.8 meters per second.
Well, you didn't measure it, but we'll take your word for it.
Because when we created the mass, there was suddenly this magical force that came up from the Earth and pulled it down.
Came up from the... No. It doesn't come up from the Earth. It just attracts things towards its centre of mass, and that's it. Oh, no. God help me.
And that is how you create gravity in your own home. Thank you very much. It's all right, guys. Okay, it's safe now.
See, he's got to be a Paul. There's nobody that stupid. Unless, of course, you're talking about Howard George Stirrup, my next port of call, and he lives in a Benidorm, which is in Spain.
Warning! Warning! Bullshitter alert! Bullshitter alert! Warning! Warning! Bullshitter alert!
Oh, yes. Matt Powell's done a video. Evolution claims that we came from rocks. We came from a rock. We do... No, it doesn't. And he cites a paper. And what I'm going to do is do something that Matt Powell never ever does. And I'm going to read out just a little bit of that paper that he cites, that he thinks says that evolution teaches that we came from rocks. But first, I need to do a quick change. Ta-da! As if by magic, I have turned into Matt Powell. See, look, I've got my tie on. It's not a leather Luke 80s style one like his. I'll have to make do with this one. I've got my white shirt on, and I've adjusted the camera angle. And check this out, so I can fit my sliding. There we go. Check it out. Am I Matt Powell? I hope not. Anyway, what Matt Powell does, he reads headlines. He never reads the whole article, because if he did, he would find this paragraph inside the article that he cites, that he claims evolution teaches that we came from rocks. So, here we go. I'm going to read it for him. Genetic studies of modern-day organisms suggest that the proteins that make multicellularity possible, especially those requiring zinc, evolved rather late, between 1.6 billion and 1.2 billion years ago, DuPont notes. Before that time, life was constrained and then it expanded. The problem is we don't know what the metal concentrations in the ocean were during this period, and we still have to identify the sources of these metals. So there you go, Mr. Powell. Stop lying for Jesus, because nowhere in that article does it say that we evolved from rocks. Stop saying it. Alrighty? Anyways, back to Howard George Stewart now, and he thinks he's got 3 experiments that disprove the globe.
My favourite experiment is verifying if moonlight chills during the waning phase, which is 1 week within the full moon. You can simply use a glass of water and a thermometer, or you can compare wet and snow surface temperatures. A dry surface is a negative control, and avoid other misreadings like radiative cooling by comparing the moonlight to unsheltered shaded areas, and manipulate the effect even more with a magnifying glass to confirm the independent variable.
So, why haven't you done the experiment yourself? That's how science works. You come up with a hypothesis and you come up with an experiment to test that hypothesis, and then you ask other people to test your results. But you have not done the experiment yourself. FTFE asked you to do it with him live, and you've turned him down. Other people have asked you to do it live with them, and you've turned them down as well. What a dishonest little man you are. And plus, other people have done the experiment too. Just go onto YouTube, type in core moonlight test, and it will pop, a load of results will pop up for you. And they've done it with even more accuracy than sticking a meat thermometer inside a freaking glass of water. And are you really trying to tell us that putting a magnifying glass between the moon and your glass of water will chill the water even more? Are you being serious now? Let's move on to the next one.
Here I am in Benidorm Beach, looking at the streetlights of San Juan beachfront 20 miles away at water level, making this reproducible observation irrefutable evidence that we're being lied to about the dimensions of where we live.
Oh, let's pick this apart, shall we? Right, you haven't measured the distance between yourself and those streetlights. Simply saying, well, I live there, isn't good enough. You're going to have to measure the distance between yourself and those streetlights. You haven't taken refraction into account either. You haven't taken the fact that San Juan is 40 metres above sea level into account either. You haven't been back to that location on different days at different times of day to see if it's just an optical illusion that you're seeing, or it's just your perspective that you see. You haven't done any of that because you're not a fan of science. You wouldn't know what science is if it painted itself purple, called itself Mr. Jones, and bit your behind. On to the next one.
Zodiac hasn't suffered any disfiguration over thousands of years. The images and definitions that we're taught to believe in contradict what we observe ourselves. Scientific apparatus confirms that we should trust our eyes and use our common sense. The twinkles of visual frequencies like cymatic patterns.
But they have changed, you moron. I mean, the North Star, for instance, is changing as well. A few centuries ago, or a few thousand years ago, it was called Thuban. And in a few centuries, it will be called Gamma Cephei. So they are moving, they are changing. Oh, and as for your bloody crappy out-of-focus images of planets, buy a telescope, buy the right equipment, and then look through stars and planets through that telescope. Oh, and don't forget to focus. Right, that's Spain all done and dusted. Let's move on, and let's move back to good old Blighty and England land, and we've got a TikTokist called Globe Skeptic. I put that music in. Do you like it? That's an IQ test, is it? Well, I think you've just failed, because down is towards your feet, up is towards the sky. There's no up, down, left or right in space. Dipstick. That's the end of the video, all done, dusted and delivered for your viewing displeasure. Thank you all so much for joining me now. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment. That would be fantastic. Thank you all so much. Consider becoming a channel member or patron or drop us a super thanks. I'll see you on the next video. Ta-ra for a bit.